What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. This is a difficult time of the year for me because there are so many things I can do when it comes to fishing. Bass are pushing into the creeks. I could hit the river on the kayak or the boat. It's a great time of the year to catch catfish and carp, which I also love to do. Trout is good right now. So I was thinking about what I should do, and I thought this would be a good opportunity to create a video explaining to you guys how I target smallmouth in creeks and rivers. I grew up fishing lakes in the South, so I had to learn all this stuff at some point. I don't want to take it for granted that some of you may not be familiar with how to target bass in creeks, what structure you should look for. What is structure in a creek? Is it different than a lake? How do you pick what bait you use? How do you set the hook? Stuff like that. So again, I know some people do not like a ton of talking in their videos. Some people do, but don't worry. There's gonna be a lot of fishing in this video. We're gonna fish, we're gonna try to catch fish, but I'm also going to explain what I'm doing to you guys. And I hope that you can learn something throughout the video. If you're new to the channel, please consider liking and subscribing. We would love to have you. We do a lot of diverse fishing content on this channel, but yeah, I hope you guys enjoy the video. Oh my goodness, he hit it right in front of me. Holy moly. I was not paying attention. I mean, I was a millisecond away from lifting that out of the water. Holy moly. There we go. On that Susquehanna Custom Lures Baby 1 and Neon Spring Craw. Man, not a bad start. I was not paying attention. He hit it right next to me. Man alive. Thank you for the fight, buddy. Woo. This is just a gorgeous crankbait color, and I love the Baby 1 because it has a pretty shallow diving bill, really tight wiggle, drives these spring smallmouth crazy. So guys, I've mentioned this before, but I grew up in the South, in South Carolina, and I grew up fishing reservoirs and lakes primarily, and not so much creeks and rivers. And maybe I take for granted that people who aren't familiar with fishing lakes, or excuse me, rivers and creeks, don't fully understand how to approach it when compared to a reservoir. Because everyone knows with bass fishing, and fishing in general really, structure is the name of the game. But structure, there's one. Structure in a creek and a river looks quite different than structure in a reservoir. Sure, in rivers and creeks, you still have rocks to target and things like fallen logs like we have in front of me. But a lot of your attention in creeks and rivers is focused on eddies, current scenes, and holes. Nice little smallmouth. Thank you for the fight, buddy. So in this video, I'm going to talk a little bit about how should you fish creeks and rivers as opposed to reservoirs. So again, I'm looking for rocks, I'm looking for fallen trees and things like that, but again, seams, eddies, and holes are what you want to focus on in rivers and creeks. So this first spot I'm fishing is a hole, a channel through the creek. Where I'm standing is maybe a foot deep, and the area I'm casting into is probably 3 feet deep or so. So that is structure in the creek. Bass are going to stack up in the hole during a lot of the periods of the day when they're not pushed up shallow. So I've identified this hole, and I'm going to cover it pretty thoroughly with this crankbait to see if anything's pushing through. Now this applies to lakes, rivers, creeks, all of the above, but something to keep in mind if you're new to fishing. When you approach an area, I tend to start with the moving baits, and I work my way down the water column usually. So if I'm going to try topwater, I'm going to start with topwater. If I'm moving to something like a crankbait or a chatterbait, I'm going to do that next. And I generally will work my way down to finesse, jigs, things that are on the bottom of the water column. There are exceptions. If I'm fishing in the middle of the day, like I can get out for an hour over lunch, I'll probably tend to do something a little slower, more finesse, because smallmouth bass, like a lot of predatory fish, are more active in the morning and in the evening, so they're more likely to chase at those times. If it's hot out, the sun's high, they're spooky, they're sluggish, I'll probably skip the moving baits and go right to something slower that looks like an easy meal. So I mentioned holes. Another area that you want to target in creeks and rivers are eddies. And I've been looking around, I don't see a lot of good examples in the spot I'm fishing. It's more of a spot with holes. But an eddy is basically where you have something impeding the current, like a part of an island sticking out, or in this case, a pile of logs, and it creates a break in the current, and you have water that pools and swirls behind that break. Maybe you can see behind this pile of logs, they're breaking the current, so the water is going to kick back and swirl behind those logs. Bass will sit in eddies a lot and wait for bait to get passed through the current, and when it gets kicked into the eddy or passes by the eddy, the bass are going to strike it then. There's one. Now, while I have this fish on, this brings up another good point regarding hook set, because this is something that I think is pretty important for fishermen. You notice when I set that hook, it was just a sweeping hook set to the side. Oh, I got distracted and he popped off. I gave him too much slack. But I did a sweeping hook set to the side. I'm fishing a moving bait, so the hook set's pretty much accomplished for me. When you're setting the hook with a moving bait, you don't need to do one of these massive Bill Dance hook sets, because you're going to rip the bait out of the mouth of the bass. Again, sweeping hook set to the side, sweeping hook set. That's what I'm going to do with chatterbaits and crankbaits and stuff that's moving quickly. Those Bill Dance hook sets are good when you're fishing a worm, something with a hook buried in the bait. So you need to pierce that bait to get the hook into the fish's jaw. Jigs, and like I said, you're fishing a Texas rigged worm or something like that. That's not a good idea though when you're fishing a crankbait. Ignore what I just did though. I was distracted because I was talking and I gave that fish slack and he popped my bait. But again, sweeping hook sets, just like that. So they seem to be pretty active so far, but we're not getting a ton of size. Most of the bass that we've caught so far, oh goodness gracious, are in that 1 to 2 pound range. Ooh, the scary thing about fishing crankbaits in the creek when you're wading is getting hooked. It can be scary when these bass start flailing around and sending 6 hooks all over the place. Thank you, buddy. Man, this spring crawl baby one is money. Pretty short, fat profile. I love the green, white, and red flake on top of this, that neon pattern. If you've followed this channel for a while, you know that the baby one by Susquehanna Custom Lures is one of my favorite crankbaits. It's just a constant producer for me. If you want to check them out, you can use the code ANGLING10 to get a discount on your purchase at Susquehanna Custom Lures. I don't get a kickback on that. I'm not making any money by giving you guys that code. This is purely because I want you guys to catch fish. There's no benefit to me in that code. So if you want to check that out. And of course, if you have any questions about certain products, feel free to email me. My email is on my YouTube channel description, or shoot me a message or leave a comment here if you have any questions about the various options. There's one sweeping hook set. Let's see if I can keep this one pinned though. There's definitely some smallies stacked up in this hole. Again, guys, find structure and you'll find fish. Please do not hook me. I do not want it. Well, you know what? He popped off there, but that saves me the risk of getting a hook in my hand. It wouldn't be the first time, and it certainly won't be the last time, but I don't feel like pushing a barb through my finger this morning. I don't think I even have pliers with me either. Another pro tip, even though I'm not following it, if you're fishing something with treble hooks, bring pliers with you. Sometimes those fish inhale that bait and they have 6 hooks in their mouth, and it is difficult to handle with just your fingers. So I was at this spot the other day with my 5-year-old son. He's been asking to wade, and I'm all about getting my children experiences, but sometimes wading in the creek can be a little dicey when the water's high. So I waited until the water's a little lower to take him out, and we had a good day at this spot. You check out the picture there. He helped me reel in his biggest bass here. We were fishing flukes, not moving baits, but it's nice to see that they're chasing around here, and I'm not just having to fish something finesse or slowly twitching a fluke through these holes. So I've mentioned eddies, holes, and seams. Again, this isn't the best spot to explain all 3 of those because it's mostly holes and channels, but you'll see maybe where those logs are jutting out there. There's a bit of an eddy, but a bit of a current seam. In front of the log, you have faster moving current all the way down that bank. And just on the other side, closer to the bank, you have very slow moving water. Bass will often sit right on that edge between the fast current and the slow current, waiting to ambush prey. So when you see current seams like that, definitely hit them. There's a couple more eddies, guys. You see a pile of sticks and stuff over there. The current is swirling and pushing back into that bank there. That's an eddy that I want to hit. And right here in front of me too, you have a pile, and the current is kicking around those sticks, swirling behind them and creating an eddy. So that's exactly the type of structure I'm talking about, guys, that you want to try to hit. There's one. What'd I tell you guys? Oh, that's a good fish. That's a good fish. That's the best one of the day so far. Stay pinned. He was sitting right in that eddy. Told you guys, find the structure and you'll find fish. It's a good fish. Not a monster, but definitely the biggest of the day so far. Actually, that's a big fish. I lied. It's a pretty big fish. Oh boy. Golly. Look at that tank. There we go. What a nice fish. I actually think I have a scale with me today, so we'll get a little measurement for you guys for some context. That guy is 3.6. All right, let's get a release on this guy. Here's another fishing tip, guys. Because I weighed this fish and took a picture with him, it's good to give him a little revive because he was out of the water for a little bit. So just hold him in the water. You don't have to go back and forth dramatically, but let some water pass over his gills. He'll let you know when he's ready to go. You'll feel him start to get a little life back. There he goes. That was a nice fish, guys. 3.6. That's the biggest of the day so far. I'd love to get a 4+ pounder today, but I'll take a 3.6 for sure. It's a good start to a tournament bag. But like I told you guys, eddies, seams, holes, structure. This bass was sitting right in that eddy I pointed out to you guys a second ago. If you're fishing in a creek and you're standing up to your chest in water, unless it's a really deep creek, you're probably standing where you want to be casting your lure. I see a lot of guys want to fish the bank and they'll stand 15 feet from the bank and cast to it. It's like those bass are going to be in the area you're standing in. So you want to make as long of a cast as you can, especially in shallow water, because these bass can see you, they can hear you. Don't stand 3 inches from the bank and cast. Try to get a good long cast. You can see here, I'm only about 1/3 of the way to that far bank there. If I were to push forward another 20, 30 feet, those bass would definitely see me and I would spook them. You're gonna catch a lot fewer bass that way. There's a bit of an eddy right here. Bit of a break in the current because you have a rock that's close to the surface of the water. So you can see the disturbance right behind that rock. I'll try to get a little bit closer, but if you see those ripples in an otherwise calm area, there's something jutting up in the water there breaking that current. Bass will often stack right behind structure like that, waiting to ambush something. So we'll throw a few casts at this structure. See if there's a bass hanging out right there. And there was. What'd I tell you? Again, guys, look for structure. That is one solitary rock in the middle of the creek, and this bass was sitting right behind it. See, now I'm a little closer to that structure that I caught that bass off of. You see the disturbance in the water surface right there? That's where that rock is, that's where that structure is. And again, the bass are gonna hang out right in there behind it. Here's one. Feels like a dink. catching the babies today. Oh, now he got a second wind. He saw me. Oh, he's not that tiny. Actually, one of the better ones today. I stand corrected. I apologize, buddy. Oh, he's gonna flick this out. Oh my goodness. Whew. Well, this is gonna be fun. Not a bad little bass. See the blood on my finger? I warned you guys about fishing crankbaits. Thank you, buddy. You got to be careful. I should have brought pliers. I'm a bozo. So yeah, he flicked on me and got that hook in my finger. Thankfully not past the barb, but I called it, guys. Flailing bass and treble hooks is a terrible predicament to be in without pliers, especially when you're wading, because I don't even have the advantage of putting my rod down like I would if I'm in a boat. I can't drop my rod in the water. There's one. That feels a little better, but again, I thought the last one was a dink and it was a decent one. This one's angrier. Sometimes the small ones are angry though. I don't know. We'll see. Not massive, but not terrible. About the same size as the last one. Oh, goodness gracious. Yep, I'm leaving with a hook. No doubt about it. Oh, please, buddy. Be nice to me. Oh, easy peasy. I will take that. Unhook every day. It's a healthy little smallmouth. We need to get on some big boys, though. Here's a good look at that structure I was talking about. See how quickly this water is moving through here? And you have this rock breaking the current, and look how calm it is behind that rock. No water movement whatsoever. Bass will sit right in here to ambush prey that gets pushed on either side of this rock. When you're fishing in a creek, I've noticed that a lot of guys will over fixate on bridge pilings. And don't get me wrong, they can definitely hold fish. But a couple things with that. One, everyone else is focusing on those bridge pilings too, so they're going to be incredibly pressured. Guys who are bank fishing without waders are going to cast to the bridge because that's usually where they can park and throw from the bank. If you're just willing to step, I'm 100 yards from that bridge and I'm catching bass like crazy, focusing on structure around me as opposed to the bridge pilings. So again, I'm not saying don't target bridge pilings. They hold fish, no doubt about it. But don't be afraid to move away from the bridge too. Don't get locked in because you think that the bridge pilings are going to hold more fish than the 200 yards on either side of it. You just got to find the structure. So I don't think I've talked about my setup today. My reel is the Shimano SLX DC. For my rod, I've got the Trica 3X. This is a 7-foot medium. And my line is Canine Fishing Fluorocarbon. Again, guys, if you're fishing moving baits with treble hooks, I would use fluorocarbon. Or even mono over braid. Because for the same reason you don't want to do the Bill Dance hook set with a crankbait, if you're using braid, because it has no stretch, you're going to find yourself pulling the treble hooks out of the fish's mouth. And it's worth noting too, guys, when I say that I have a channel partner or a sponsor or I'm on a pro team, I'm not signing up with companies because of some type of benefit, or they're paying me. If someone tries to recruit me or reaches out that I try their product, if I don't like it, I'm not going to promote it. I'll politely decline. On this channel, when you see that I'm on a pro team or I have a channel sponsor or a partner, you can rest assured it's because I stand behind the product and I want to promote good products to you guys. I'm not chasing anything with this channel. I have a day job, I have a career. I'm just a guy that likes to fish. That's why this channel is called Everyman Angling. This is for the everyman. This is for the person who just likes to get out on the weekends and on the evenings, catch a few fish. That's a snag. Dadgummit. You know, that's another trick worth mentioning. I don't want to take anything for granted on this channel. I've been fishing since I was a little kid, and I know a lot of people haven't. And the only way to learn is to get out here and do it. So when you get snagged like that, if you have to, you can walk out and grab it, but you're blowing up the hole that you're fishing in. So one thing to do is you don't want to just pull with your rod, because you risk running or breaking the tip off, which I have done. That's from experience. And you don't want to just pull on your line, because what's going to happen is you're either going to break off your lure, or at a minimum, you're going to stretch out your line, fray it, and you're going to hurt the integrity of your knot. So something to do is get some tension on your rod, point it at the structure that you're snagged on, grab your line near the reel, pull up and snap it. Pull up and snap it. And that's going to shake the hook and often bring it out from behind the rock or the log that you're stuck in. Sometimes you're just buried too deep in there and it's not going to work. But try that as opposed to just tugging on your line or snapping the tip of your rod. Sorry? Yeah, I'm catching good numbers. Smallmouth, yeah. Yeah, it's pretty decent. You live up there? Last house. Yeah, I fish up that way a good bit. You... Sorry? What was that? You have a dam and an island. Okay, very cool. Do you fish a lot? Well, you have a good spot for it. Oh, I appreciate it. Thank you very much. What is which house is it again? What color is it? A backhoe and everything. Yeah, sometimes I appreciate that. Sometimes I usually stay in the water, but sometimes I'd like to catfish, and that's difficult if you're not standing on the bank. So do you mind if sometime I just stand on your bank to catfish? I appreciate that. Thank you very much. My name is Steven. It's nice to meet you, Sam. So sorry guys, I was in the middle of talking and that guy stopped by. I don't know how much of that you could hear, but he owns a house up the creek a little bit, and he said that I'm welcome to come over there and fish. You know, that's another fishing tip, by the way. We lose fishing spots all the time. Obviously, fishermen have a right to stand or boat in navigable waterways, but past the high water mark, this land belongs to people. And a lot of people will fish their land without permission, or if they have permission, they'll go and leave worm containers and trash and be rowdy. If you're lucky enough to have someone offer for you to fish their land, be respectful. You don't want to be the reason why fishermen lose fishing spots. So that was a cool conversation. It's nice to see someone willing to let people fish. Oh, there's one. Man, the second it hit the water. I didn't have time for it. That feels like a good fish, guys. That feels decent. Oh, not that big. He's angry, but he's not a monster. Oh, whoa, look at the mark on this guy's face. I've never seen that. I've seen bass with a lot of spots, but this guy has half of his face is black. That's cool. Spring crawl. Go check that out, guys. Thank you for the fight, buddy. You made me think you were a stud. That's a cool black face you have there. Thank you, bud. Well, that's gonna do it for me, guys. I hope you learned something about how I target bass in creeks and rivers. I know there was a lot of talking, but there was a lot of fish catching too, so I hope that made up for it. It's getting later in the day, so this is the period where if I were going to continue to fish, I would switch tactics to something slower, more finesse, something on the bottom, a fluke, a Nico Helgermite, something like that. But we caught a lot of bass, and I just wanted to really share with you guys some tips and tricks. So I fished with the same crawl the entire time, the same crankbait. It's that Baby One Susquehanna Custom Lures Neon Spring Craw. Money, again, you can use the code angling10 if you want a discount at Susquehanna Custom Lures. But yeah, again, I hope you guys learned something. I hope you guys enjoyed watching the video. Until next time, tight lines.